welcome to CINEKYD Television Theater. On this first broadcast of our new season, I'm very pleased that you've chosen to watch the show. We'd like to use this program as a stage to give you a chance to determine what we're going to be doing and what you're going to be watching. CINEKYD has been in existence for 6 years. During that time, we try to improve every single day that we're in operation. On our broadcast this year, first of all, and probably the most noticeable thing, is the fact that everything is in full color. Some of our shows will give you a chance to go behind the scenes and take a look at some of the sophisticated production gear that brings you these programs. But you know, the heart of CINEKYD are the young people, the boys and girls who make up the CINEKYD family. For some of these kids, this is the 3rd, 4th, 5th year that they've been a part of CINEKYD. For other children, they're just starting their CINEKYD experience. So, considering them our greatest wealth, we thought you'd like the opportunity to meet some of them and find out why, especially after a summer where every one of our programs, unfortunately, had a waiting list, why so many kids from almost 40 different communities join CINEKYD.
Frank Smith, you going to be joining track this year?
Yes, I like doing the stuff that we do in track. I edit, I'm working on a project, I'm going to start one, and I act and open flywheel. I made 3 small single concept films.
What's a single concept film?
You just pick one topic and you go through outtakes, stuff like that, and you make a film about it. I did still photography, cinematography, and bloopers.
Mark Miller, what are you doing?
I am cataloging these books up here.
CINEKYD's library.
Yes.
Hey, are you planning on joining track this year?
Yes.
Were you in it last year?
Yes.
How many years would this be for you?
This will be my 3rd year in track.
What crew were you in last year?
Radio talent and radio technical. They would put me on radio technical whenever they wanted to. It's a tour through an imaginary CINEKYD movie studio. It's like a big, like Universal Pictures or something. And it's supposed to be in Hollywood. And you go through the tour and it's a comedy. And then you go into Bogle's Tales, which is a horror suspense series, which is a series the studio was supposed to be putting out.
It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing the radio show. We had to come in on Friday nights too, not just Wednesday nights. We had to come on Friday nights to tape it. And then on Wednesday nights we did the practice and rehearsals.
What crew do you plan to join this year?
I'd like to go into TV technical. Or I might go back to radio. I haven't made up my mind yet. I don't know. I'd like to see what it's like. You know, going to use the new equipment that we were supposed to get in. And I think it'll be a lot of fun.
You looking forward to track starting again?
Yeah.
Robin, what crew are you going to be on?
This one's showing a spit.
You were on graphics last time?
I was on graphics and professional and I was on still photography
Melinda, what are you going to be in this year?
Either makeup or graphics.
Paula, what are you going to be doing?
I'm going to be an acting or makeup. I'm excited. You did that. Paula? Yes, I need another one. Wait. My hands are killing.
What are you doing?
Chairs. Makeup.
Why?
Because for the makeup. The makeup room needs new chairs. So we took old ones and we're covering them up. They look better. And yeah.
to put new shelves in and rearrange everything. New shelves, worth it. You want to see our gold? You want to see our gold bee?
How about you make a name like Crispin?
I don't know.
Nobody can say it.
Make it Smith.
I can say it. Crispin.
All right, come on.
Stop, Lieutenant.
All right.
It's crispy.
Okay. Stop Lieutenant Crispin before he gets into range and tell him what's going on.
Mark Weaver was a radio actor last year, CINEKYD Radio Playhouse's versatile character actor. On a typical Wednesday night at CINEKYD, Mark and his fellow radio producers would go through their script in an informal table rehearsal under the professional guidance of staff radio director Gwen Fine and writer Wendy Worthington.
Robin says, just take the tour group anywhere in the studio? Heavens, no. We can't have that. And then stop, period. Because now it's sort of, you've got to come up with this idea. Now, why don't you all come down with me? Don't just run along. Heavens, no, we can't have that. Why don't you all come down? Stop for a second, like you're thinking. Okay? It doesn't have to be long. Remember, you got to think, how would someone in this position act? He doesn't read his line, he doesn't just keep talking without thinking. Robbie's a young fella. Jason, he's, he's very up. Hiya, Max. No, Max. I think normal is running the press. Nothing, just make him I want you to speak up and clearly and, willing to answer any questions. You'll tell anything you know, that kind of You're a young... Imitating? Yes, you're essentially doing your version of Max. Okay, so you're a young PR person, and you're trying to sound like Max Carton, head of the PR department. So you really
CINEKYD Radio Playhouse is a weekly FM program set in mythical CINEKYD movie studios in Hollywood. The listening audience goes on a guided tour of the backlots each Thursday night. Sometimes they come across strange sets, funny actors, and temperamental directors, and sometimes they witness one of Bogle's tales. Here's a sample.
Greetings. I'm so glad you were able to join me, because I have a lovely story to tell you. I know many of them. Tales of horror, stories of suspense. Every one of them is guaranteed to leave you with a goosebump or a shiver. I know tales of the dead who won't stay dead, and tales of those you don't learn about until it gets dark, and witches' tales, and tales of goblins. And every one of my stories is true.
Radio is the most varied of today's media, with all news formats, many different music stations, all talk, all sports, and many other types of programs. So besides the drama of CINEKYD Radio Playhouse, CINEKYD explores these other forms as well. Track's radio announcing crew gathered on a Wednesday night for Track last season and planned their various projects, from music specials to politics.
What is your stand on nuclear power?
Nuclear power? I think they ought to stop building nuclear weapons, because if there is a nuclear war, there's not going to be much left to worry about, will there?
Hi, this is Jerry McGrath from Radio Announcers, and I'm talking to...
Denise White, also from Radio Announcing.
What do you do in radio announcing?
Well, right now I'm doing a show on rock music, and sometimes I'll feature new songs that are out and a little bit about new groups, or I'll do a feature on a group, and I hope to be doing some interviewing for my next show with the group.
So you know a lot about rock?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I read about it a lot of magazines and books.
What's your name?
Christy Jacobs.
What's your main goal in life?
To be a famous artist.
Why?
I just like to paint. I like the way, the colors and the blending and all of the painting and the pictures I do. I like to do rainbows the most.
This is Patty Edwards from CINEKYD.
Wednesday night track sessions also give CINEKYDs the opportunity to try their hand at graphics and miniatures.
But anyway, like her mother usually has. You're not telling my mom not to have one. Okay. So, nice. Right. So the front
Film editing.
But it's gonna be a brown blob that just slows around, but when it has to, it can transform itself into figures. I'm just gonna have start for animation with going doom 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 ding.
Still photography.
Okay, listen up. Okay, we'll run the rehearsal tape through once, okay? Yeah, just a lot.
The newly formed writers crew, which produces the newsletter CINEKYD Journal, and the various crews involved in creating the weekly television serial. Last season's production, The Ghost of Telford Mansion, kept makeup artists busy. Television technicians put the drama on videotape, and of course there were the television actors. You are watching the work of yet another crew, background videographers, shooting documentary tape of all of CINEKYD's activities. On this track night last spring, the video crew followed Telford actor Frank Schlatter through his weekly routine. First in makeup, the long, sometimes nervous walk to the studio.
Questions on
How's it going, John? Down there in the parking lot.
2 or 3 different scenes are shot in the night, and Frank must wait for his. Gets his last-minute details from the producer, and now the time comes to walk through his scene.
Yeah, we'll rewind. We'll be seconds. Okay.
Talon, in position. Don't speed up so you're way off the carpet.
Watch the cable. Watch the cable. Can we get the other side of the camera too, perhaps? So you don't step over the cable.
We'll do that. Kim and Miles will move, and they'll also move the rocking chair out of the way for us. Okay, continue the scene.
On another Wednesday night, the episode of Telford Mansion called for actor Stan Skalski, playing the handyman Jonas, to turn into a werewolf. This special effect was a combined effort of the makeup crew, which had to devise and apply the mask for Stan's stand-in Carrie Abend, and the TV technical crew, which had to execute the effect for videotape. This year's TV serial Skeleton in a Closet will involve more complex sets, so a special sets and props crew has been added to the list of crew choices available to the students, all of which sometimes leads to confusion when it comes to picking a kid's area of specialization.
I don't know. I might take a shot at graphics or maybe radio announcer.
The added crews are not the only changes CINEKYD will make in this year's fall programs. 2 separate foundation grants have enabled this non-profit production group to acquire color video gear. The biggest change will come to the track and tyro programs, where students will learn to use the professional editing gear and video production equipment on their own shows. CINEKYD Theater, this showcase for CINEKYD student productions, will now all be full color. CINEKYD had the chance to try out color video production at the end of this summer in the Pro Shop which is sort of a preview for the fall track programs. Although this wasn't the full complement of color gear that CINEKYD will be using in the fall, it gave the kids a chance to work on color videotape as they produced a half-hour television special called The Haunted Valley.
Don't worry.
Okay, thank you. Ready? All right, quiet. Here we go. This is for tape. Quiet. This is for tape. Cut.
Dave, lower the mic just a little bit. Okay, that's good. Now
roll decks. Take 4, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Because of Walt, it's a good thing you're here.
So this one young man was sent out into the woods one night, and he did very well. He found his own food, made his own shelter, and then as evening came, he realized he was terribly thirsty. And he heard the sound of water running and went towards this, thinking that it was a quiet river stream flowing by. What he didn't realize is that he was on the edge of a very precipitous waterfall. You know, there is a waterfall up here in the city.
The action is you're watching them. Once walk past up the bus, and you're watching them. They're in the middle of the action.
There's more than Mindy. Anybody want to watch that?
Those two reactions. Okay, Rod, one over here. You two are out. Where's Stuart? Is he out? Okay. Now, you're not done, though. We have a 2-shot that needs you. Okay, so have a seat. How do I look?
Just let me say.
What? Todd, George, hold slow.
One more shot. You look
Here we go. From the top again. Why don't you come in from here so you can see? Ready? Quiet, children. 1, 2, 3, action. Can't have done this. Remember that so carefully the other night. That's what we don't want. Ferdinand was able to die.
I've got everything else right to that.
We're in our makeup and costume suite. What happens here, of course, is that actors and actresses secure the clothes that they'll wear and have the special makeup applied that they would require for any of the various segments or programs that we do in either television or motion picture format. Both boys and girls find this an exciting place to be. You know, years ago, makeup was considered an art confined primarily to women. But that was only in the high school or the junior high school situation. In Hollywood and television, most of the makeup artists are men and women. And here too at CINEKYD, we have specialists who deal with the bizarre and give us the various horror faces and ghoulish kinds of things that some of the programming requires, so that those of you who read the popular magazines about how to create bizarre creatures from another planet, this is interesting. So too for folks who have an ability to sew or design or style and have an interest in what an actor or an actress wears would find this the spot in CINEKYD where you'd be spending most of your time. At CINEKYD, our graphics department is considerably more than an art class. We involve ourselves in the creation of miniatures, and they're very useful in both motion pictures and television work in providing the illusions that we need. In addition to that, all of our credits, signs, announcements are produced right here on campus. There are a variety of other media that give kids a chance to explore the bounds of their own creative energies. And we're very proud of some of their efforts, a number of the things that have been created for the different series that are part of CINEKYD. I'd like you to take a look at one in particular. This beautiful little miniature was, of course, the Telford Mansion, the focal point in last year's series, The Ghost of Telford Mansion. This is CINEKYD's Resource Center. This is a newly refurbished area that serves a number of purposes here on campus. It is primarily an audio production area for one of our newest crews. We have a number of young people who are working under the guidance and direction of one of our graduate students in creating a new type of radio broadcast within the facility that has soundproofing and carpeting and draperies, as well as a variety of open reel and audio cassette recorders, microphones and mixers. A lot of broadcast work is done. This area also houses our disc library, our reference books, open reel tapes, magazines, 45 RPMs, a complete compilation of media that are necessary for the production of not only this radio show, but our monthly newsletter and a variety of the other special purpose publications that we create here at CINEKYD. This is also the place used by our young people when they stop by after school or in an evening and would like a quiet place to do their homework. This, of course, is our studio, where we produce the bulk of our television sequences, as well as a number of the motion pictures that are part of the CINEKYD operation. This particular tape is being made at a time when we are actually creating sets and props and refurbishing this year for the first time the entire area. What has happened is, of course, we've gone to full color. Our broadcasts will now come to you just as professionally as we can create them. All new cameras, all new control room, a computerized editing setup are just a part of this facility. As a matter of fact, our board of trustees has decided to dedicate this studio to Mr. Daniel S. Brady in a very, very special ceremony that will be held the end of this month. What will be happening this year is that as part of the track program, the operation that is designed for young people in junior and senior high school, and in Tyro, that element of our educational curricula that is designed for boys and girls in the elementary grades, a lot of the television series will be produced right here. This year as well, for the very first time, the kids who are part of Tyro will have a weekly part of the program. They'll be designing and they'll be producing their own mini-series that will be included in CINEKYD Television Theater. And as well, this is where you will be seeing, or let me say from this vantage point, you'll be seeing Uncle Flywheel's workshop, Skeleton in the Closet, and quite a number of the new series. And very honestly, folks, most people don't get involved in this kind of an activity because there's so much work. There is weeks of effort. We stopped our programming in the beginning of August, finished with a 1-hour color special, finished up Whiplash 2, and then went into post-production. And we've been trying over a period of 4 or 5 weeks to ready the area so that when our new broadcast season began, we in fact would have the sets, the props, new lights, a new sound system, everything designed to provide you with the best in television programming. So in the weeks to come, we're going to provide you with exciting creative broadcasting. And remember, what you see is created by CINEKYD, much of it on our campus in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. I'd like to close this broadcast with an invitation. This weekend, Friday and Saturday night, we'll be having our orientation. Like most private schools and colleges, this is the time when we register new members. We have 2 programs, track and Tyro. Track for boys and girls in junior, senior high school. Tyro for kids of elementary age. If you are interested in television production, radio production, motion picture production, graphics, special effects, makeup, costume, writing, still photography, set construction, and heaven knows there are other areas, then I invite you to visit the CINEKYD campus this Friday evening and virtually all day Saturday. Take a look around, and if you can, join the CINEKYD family. Until next week then, for the second part of our new season, thanks for being with us. Good night and God bless.
Next week on CINEKYD Theater, the television premiere of the track 1982 rock concerts. Join our students as they have fun with modern music.